So, something really big is happening in China's auto market. It feels like we're at a major turning point, and a brand new deep dive report reveals just how dramatic this shift really is. Today, we're going to unpack the key findings from that report to figure out what the future really holds for the world's largest car market. Welcome, everyone, to Flow Tao Salon. All right, so the source for our analysis today is a really comprehensive report from the Autohome Research Institute. These guys have been tracking the data all year, and they've put it all together to dissect the 2025 passenger car market, and more importantly, give us a forecast for what's just around the corner in 2026. And, it all kind of boils down to this one huge question that's on everybody's mind. Is the golden age of just explosive, nonstop growth in China's auto market finally over? Let's dive into the evidence. Okay, first up, let's break down this slowdown. The market is clearly, and I mean clearly, hitting the brakes. And what's so fascinating is how directly the reasons are tied to government policy. You see, 2025 wasn't just a simple case of things slowing down. It was more like a policy-driven roller coaster. Just look at this timeline. The year kicked off with this high-growth phase, but that was really just because the numbers from early 2024 were so weak. Then things went flat in the middle of the year as we started comparing sales to a period that was artificially boosted by subsidies. And then by the end of the year, sales actually went into negative growth. Why? Because those subsidies ran out. It's a perfect example of how government intervention has been calling the shots. And all that uncertainty, it leads to a pretty startling forecast for 2026. The predicted growth ranges from a -7% all the way to a measly +2%. I mean, that's a massive spread, and it just screams uncertainty. While some industry folks are trying to be optimistic, a lot of the big financial institutions are actually getting ready for the market to shrink. So the big takeaway here is that the era of easy, predictable growth, it's done. So if the market as a whole is slowing down, where is all the action? Well, the race has moved to completely new battlegrounds, and these days, they're all about one thing: technology. Just take a look at this. This shows the first battleground perfectly, the smart cockpit. Look at that jump. Back in 2019, fewer than a quarter of new energy vehicles had one. Fast forward to 2025, and it's almost 87%. A big screen, voice controls, over-the-air updates, these aren't luxuries anymore. They're what people expect as standard. And it's the exact same explosive story with advanced driver assistance systems, or ADAS. We've gone from just over 7% in 2019 to over 66% in 2025. The report calls this the democratization of smart driving, and that's a perfect way to put it. Features that felt like sci-fi just a few years ago are now becoming totally mainstream. But, and this is a huge but for the car companies, here's the catch. As this tech becomes common, people stop seeing it as some premium add-on they should pay extra for. This quote from an Autohome user survey says it all. More than half of users now believe these advanced systems should just be a basic feature, included in the price. This chart right here just drives that point home. When asked if they'd pay extra for advanced city-level smart driving, a whopping 57% of people said no, flat out, and less than 10% were willing to pay a serious premium. So you see the problem, right? Automakers are in a really tough spot. They have to spend a ton of money on this tech to even compete, but they can't easily get customers to pay for it. And all this tech pressure? It's really splitting the market in two. On one side, you have the domestic Chinese brands who are just on an absolute roll, increasing both their sales and the average price of their cars as they move up market. On the other side, many of the big international legacy brands are feeling the heat, with pressure pushing down their sales and their prices, and they're struggling to turn things around. So with things getting so tough at home, what do? Well, the most ambitious Chinese brands are looking globally, but their strategy is changing in a really fundamental way. It's no longer just about shipping cars out of China, it's about building them right where they're sold. And I mean, this isn't just some idea on a PowerPoint slide, it is happening right now. Look at this. BYD is building a massive 300,000 unit a year factory in Hungary. Chery's setting up shop in Spain, and in Southeast Asia, you've got brands like BYD, SOC, and XPeng putting down roots and establishing production in places like Indonesia and Malaysia. This is a huge strategic pivot toward localized manufacturing. What's really smart here is that they're not just copy-pasting their strategy everywhere. In Europe, where regulations and demand point to pure EVs, they're going all in on electric. But in Southeast Asia, where charging infrastructure isn't quite there yet, they're using a smarter dual-drive approach, offering both pure EVs and plug-in hybrids to give people more choice. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. So as we look ahead to 2026, what are the three most important, most crucial things to take away from all this?
All right, takeaway number one. The era of hypergrowth is over. It's done. The Chinese auto market is maturing. It's no longer about a family buying their very first car. It's about replacing an old one. And that means the competition is going to be way fiercer and much more strategic from here on out. Second, technology is now just the price of entry. Having cool, advanced, smart driving features doesn't make you special anymore. It's just the basic requirement to play the game. The real battle, the real challenge, has shifted from who has the tech to who can figure out how to actually make money from it when customers expect it for free.
And finally, takeaway number three. The global era for Chinese automakers has truly officially begun. This move from just exporting cars to actually building them in Europe and Southeast Asia, that's a massive statement. It signals a whole new phase of long-term global ambition. And all of this leaves us with one final, fascinating question to think about. As these new factories come online, as this new phase of competition heats up, not just in China, but all around the world, who do you think is going to win the global car market of the next decade?
Flo Tao Salon, wishing you a prosperous year of the horse.